Ever wonder how some businesses create raving fans who buy again and again and bring their friends too? Vance, my guest, went from guarding birth control factory to leading teams at Disney, hitting rock bottom and rising up to a wildly successful entrepreneur. His secret? Turning everyday customer interactions into unforgettable experiences. In this episode, Vance is going to share how to stop chasing new clients and start building your business that customers never want to leave. You'll discover why most loyalty programs fail, how to monetize every step of the customer's journey, and how small details make massive differences. So if you're ready to raise prices, grow your profits, and stand out like no one else in your market, then this episode of Profit with a Plan is your roadmap. Hey entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help you scale smarter, increase profitability, and build a business that's worth more, whether you keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia Riner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. I've helped countless entrepreneurs to turn their business into highly profitable and sale-ready assets, so they enjoy more income now and a bigger payout later on. So join me for practical strategies, expert insights, and proven steps to make your business more profitable, more valuable, and built to last. By the way, today's episode is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where we don't just talk profit, we deliver it. So before we dive in, I've got something special for you. If you feel like you're doing everything right, but still not seeing the results you want, it might be time for a fresh perspective. That's where we're offering a free growth and marketing audit. And in just one powerful session, we'll uncover opportunities to drive real growth for your business. If you're ready to make an impact, visit profitbooster.biz and let's get started. All right, let's jump into today's episode. My guest today is Vance Morris. Vance is a former Disney leader turned service experience strategist with one of the most unconventional entrepreneurial journeys out there. He's done everything from security guard at a birth control factory to bankrupt executive, a carpet cleaner, and now a highly sought after consultant and speaker. Vance is the founder of Chesapeake Service Solutions, where businesses design client experiences that not only retain customers, but turn them into a loyal brand ambassadors. Drawing from his time at Disney and his years of hands-on business growth, he's built a proven framework that transforms ordinary interactions into unforgettable moments that drive profits. Vance is the go-to expert when it comes to monetizing your customer journey. Welcome, Vance, to Profit with a Plan. I'm excited to have you on today.
Well, thank you, Marcia. That was quite the intro. I hope I live up to it.
Oh, of course you will. Of course you will. My boyfriend Chad helped me work that one out.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I have to send him a gift card or something.
I don't think he'll take it. GPT is his last name, so.
Okay.
This is great. So what a fantastic story that has brought so many different viewpoints to the way that you build customer journeys. And I'm a huge fan, and I'd love to hear like what this takeaways are going to do for our audience today. So question for you. Out of all of those fun experiences that you've had, which was your favorite?
I mean, I'd have to say my time with Disney. I would say, birth control factory security guard, but there aren't really a lot of customer experience takeaways there. It was a third shift job, and really it was just me and, well, all the birth control stuff. And not much excitement there. Although we did invent a game, my roommate and I from college. You've heard of Ultimate Frisbee?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we invented an indoor version of it called Ultimate Diaphragm.
Oh my goodness. Too much information.
So,
Oh
yeah.
my
Well,
gosh, that's
it's
hilarious.
snowing out, can't go outside. You got to have some kind of entertainment. So,
I
but
tell you,
Disney
that would
was
do
my
it.
number one. I mean, it was my first real job out of college, and and I'm glad it was because that kind of really set the base for everything I was going to do afterwards.
And what you were not going to do again, right?
This is true, which would be creating games that should not be created.
Exactly. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that we know that you've got that Disney experience, and I have to say, between Disney and Nordstrom, those are the two highest, companies that experience, the customer experience comes out of and are commonly used as examples because it's everything, right? You walk in and you have this just amazing experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, certainly. And, and there's a couple others we could throw in there. A couple of everyday ones that a lot of your listeners might recognize, like Chick-fil-A.
Mm. Never on
And
Sunday.
I use them specifically because they pull their employees are immersed in their culture and are trained to be like some of the nicest people that you run into all day long. They say please and thank you and my pleasure
My
and
pleasure.
all that.
Yes.
And they seriously, they seem like they mean it. Now, they're getting their employees from the same applicant pool as all of the other businesses in the area, right? The local high school. So why is it that Chick-fil-A can get them to say, please, thank you, and my pleasure, and the rest of them can barely get them to grunt at you? You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be said about that kind of tradition, that kind of setting that gets them to do that. And I really firmly believe that you can't say that the applicant pool is shallow. You can't say that you can't find good help. I think it is all in the training and the history of the company and what you put out there as important. And
Mm.
Chick-fil-A's found it. Now, granted, it's fast food. Yes, I get it. But
But they are. I have to agree with you. They are the most pleasurable high school students I've ever seen. I thought they must have like done something to them, brainwashed them, or,
yeah,
I mean, because when they take that experience and those skill sets out to the world, right? Where the other college or high school kids just, like you said, grunt, you
oh,
know?
I mean, I'd hire a Chick-fil-A employee in a heartbeat. You know,
Exactly.
if I saw
Okay.
something else, like those Golden Arches guys, not so much.
Nope, they grunt.
Yeah, they grunt. They do.
Love the differentiation. So
Yeah. Well,
I grunt on my resume or I say, please, thank you, and my pleasure.
that's right. But it adds a certain amount of value, and people know that. I mean, business owners, interviewers know what the weight that carries.
Mm.
And there are others that create that sense of community, that sense of engagement, Apple being one of them, where people have this affinity towards the brand. I mean, when Apple launches a new iDoohickey, there's a line that wraps 19 times around the building to get
For
your hands
days.
on this thing, right?
Yes.
When was the last time you saw a line at the Google store or at the Microsoft store? Never. I mean, they could launch a new product. There's like three people in the store. But Apple, I mean, they're wrapped around the block. Same thing with Harley-Davidson. I mean, these people are die-hard on top. I mean, they are just evangelical about their brands. And Disney's the same way, Nordstrom's the same way. And that's what we want to try to do with our businesses is how do we, as small business owners, get our customers to be as rabid, as evangelical, as screaming from the mountaintops about our clothing store, about our carpet cleaning business, about whatever it is we do. That's what we have to figure out. And you don't
Yes.
have to be a big name brand to do that. You
You
could be
don't?
a mom and pop coffee shop. You could be the carpet cleaner. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of examples to your point. But it's something that we need to strive for because once you create that, they're never leaving you. I mean,
No, and that's valuable, incredibly
well,
valuable. Okay, so here's the multi-million dollar question here.
sure.
how do you get that kind of raving fan to come back? Is it just the experience you're doing, or is it the brand of the product that's so cool, like a Harley Davidson, right?
Well, I think the brand is a happy byproduct of everything that you do.
Mm,
And so, because I don't think we could just throw up a logo and everybody instantly recognize us in town.
right.
We can't do that. We're not Goodyear. We're not Walmart. Um, I mean, and I would challenge the Goodyear marketing people and advertisers to say, dudes, when you put that blimp up over top of the Baltimore Ravens football stadium, how many tires did you sell?
Oh,
They
none.
have no idea. They can't answer the question. And they probably didn't sell any because they put the blimp up there. The only time they sell tires is when somebody has a blowout or they're bald. But yet there's the blimp. It makes makes the shareholders happy that the blimp's up there. And okay,
Mm,
well, I guess our money's being well spent. Um, so how do you do it? Well, first and foremost, we have to stop, as small business owners, we have to stop pretending that we are a big company.
yes.
For example, so I started my carpet cleaning business at the same time as a buddy of mine, and he's actually not too far from here. And we went vastly different paths on how we grew our business. Actually, he didn't really grow. So he decided he was going to be like a corporate guy.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, Chris, if that's what you want to do, knock your socks off. So when you call him, first, you don't get a person, which is a
Mm,
huge thing. You want to get ahead in this world these days, answer your phone live. That'll set
wow.
you apart by a million miles. Anyway, so you call him and you get the machine and you press one for residential, you press two for commercial, you press three for janitorial, you press four for God knows what else he does. He's
The
one
phone
guy,
tree.
and all of those options go right to his cell phone. Why you, excuse the language, you're pissing people off by sending them to a phone tree to push buttons when it's only one dude. I don't get it.
He wanted to feel big. He wanted to look big.
But that's being transactional,
Mm,
not creating emotional connections. So if you look at any of my marketing for my home service businesses, and even some for my consulting business, I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. I it's all over the place. So like my daughter, Emma, she's 17 now, so she's kind of outgrown the cute phase. But I would use her in my newsletters all the time. She used to do ballet, and I would take the obligatory picture of her in her tutu every year at the recital, and then I would put it in my newsletter. And it went out to, a couple thousand of my carpet cleaning clients. We were in the grocery store one day, and this lady came running up to us. Actually, she came running up to Emma. She didn't come running up to me. Said, "Oh my
uh,
God, how was your recital?"
you're a star.
And I'm like, well, no. She and I looked at each other like, we're getting the hell out of here. Go hide in the frozen food section. Who's this nutty, trying to looking at us? And then I had to think, oh, wait, she's got to be one of my clients. She has watched my daughter, let alone her three older brothers, grow up.
Yep.
Kids have thousands of aunts and uncles that they'll never meet.
Mm,
But this lady is never leaving me. I've
mm.
created an emotional connection with this person and probably hundreds, if not thousands of others, just by shamelessly using my kids. I would have to royally screw up for this woman to leave me.
Wow.
And so, and I do this with all different things. I mean, it's not just using my kids, but
People use puppies.
what's that?
The people use puppies and
I
their
use
cat.
puppies. I mean, if you like to fish, go out and, picture
Yep.
you standing in the river with a fish hook, whatever. But because all of those things, you have something in common with a certain subset of your customers,
Right.
and it shows that you are a real person. It shows that you are a human, and honestly, when you do that kind of stuff, it shows you can have fun. I mean,
Mm,
and entertaining, I think, is 90% of the battle in small business marketing. Because if you're boring, Nobody's going to read your stuff. Nobody's going to watch your
I
stuff, right?
Yeah, that makes total sense, right? You put out the traditional, here's the state of the market, newsletter, let's play realtor here, right?
Right.
House is sold, this is the price, here's that. And if you upgrade your kitchen, you can get this much more for your house, right? Boring. But a lot of people read that because they want to know what the neighbors got for their house. So their house is worth something, right?
Yeah.
But
Let's
it's
talk
it's
about,
not doing the connection work because does that mean
well,
that when I'm ready to sell my house, I'm gonna go to that realtor that's been sending me newsletters for, 100 years?
yeah. Well, what the thing is that you entertain them. Now, I wrote, I think we were talking before we started recording about the dentist. Nobody chooses a dentist by their ability to be a dentist, right? Because we choose by the pictures online. Oh, that's a nice office. Oh,
Yeah,
the nice looking dental assistants. Or we choose by reviews. We've got no flipping clue how good of a dentist they really are.
that's
We
right.
really don't. We have no way of measuring it. Did they graduate at the top of the class or the bottom of their class?
It's
But in
crazy.
order for the dentist to be marketed, now here's where I went a little askew in my writing, is I compared it to Kim Kardashian.
Oh no.
Well, but see, she is a master. She's not very good at anything, if you think
No.
about
Yes, that's her
it,
claim to fame.
right? Well, she's the same as the dentist. Dentist could be okay. They're good at dentistry, but you don't have to be great at dentistry to be a dentist.
Mm,
Kardashian's good at something, I'm sure, but she's great at marketing herself and her
mm,
family and her brand. That's what the
mhm.
dentist has to do. They've got to be great at marketing, telling the story, entertaining people. I mean, the Kardashians are in the news weekly at least, if not more frequently. For what?
Are your podcast guest appearances leading to real business, or are you just hoping that listeners will take action? With the Profit Booster Podcast Monetization Hub, we turn your interviews into lead generating machines so that you capture, nurture, and convert listeners into paying clients. So stop leaving money on the table and get started today at profitboosterpod.com.
I mean, the latest butt tuck that she got. Really. I mean, but this is look at where we put our emphasis in our society. It's not on education.
No.
Otherwise, school teachers would be paid as much as entertainers,
Mm. Wouldn't that be a
right?
lovely thought, right? For
Well,
some
it would,
teachers
but I
raising our
can't fix
kids
the
for us.
world.
That's crazy.
But,
Okay, so we know now that we've got to have this like attractive personality, not necessarily physically attractive, but engaging attractive, right?
well, it helps.
That we're going to connect with our audience. Well, that's step one, but is if we connect with them and we both fish together, and that means we're going to be lifelong business, relationship together?
Well, we have to communicate. I mean, and we talked a little bit about newsletters. If the only time that you hear from the business is when they want to sell you something,
Mm, got it.
that that's not a relationship. That's a
No.
transaction.
Yep.
And when I look at trying to keep customers for life, I have I'm a simple guy. It's really a three-piece system to keeping the customers. I use the newsletter,
Hmm.
and I am a faithful, put it in the mail, not email.
Real paper? You snail mail things?
I do,
Yes.
I know, God, your head's going to explode, right? Uh,
Put a
Well, hey,
stamp on it, right?
Postal Service still has a 99% deliverability rate, better than any email provider out there. And with the Postal Service, you can't delete the mail. I mean, you at least have to get it in your hands, look at it, make a decision. Okay, am I going to read it or am I going to throw it away? You can't delete it.
Wow. Okay.
So now you got the thing in your hands, and if the outside of it is somewhat entertaining, amusing, or catches your eye and says, okay, maybe I'll open this and give it a little more of my attention. Now you got them hooked. And then you just
Nice.
entertain them throughout, and you're like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then you might have a little blurb in there about referrals or, hey, if you know somebody, but you're not trying to sell them in the newsletter. You're
Got it.
entertaining and you're creating engagement and you're creating that emotional connection.
Got it.
And then 2 weeks later, you send out a postcard. Again, real thing in the mail, put stamp on, send it through the mail. That has your promotion of the month on it. So
Nice.
now you sell to them. So create the connections, sell. And then the third part of it is kind of a combination of the two and is through electronic, is email. And I do a weekly email, which is a combination of the newsletter and the promotion. So the body of the email is, nice little story. Maybe you did something or, customer highlight or maybe an employee birthday or employee milestone or something. And then the PS is the offer of the month. So I'm agnostic when it comes to the media. I think you need to hit everybody in different channels. But in this case, you've hit them in different channels. You've hit them with stuff to buy. You've hit them with stuff to make them laugh, and they're going to remember you. And because remember, they're not always ready to buy.
Well, of course not. Of course not.
So you got to be
then
there.
do you think this sounds like a perfect thing for a carpet cleaner to do, right? Or a maid service or like a home service kind of thing to do.
Sure.
Or even the local store, right? But do you think that this would work for B2B style businesses? So like if I'm selling to attorneys?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, there's still people. Well, no, I mean, really. I mean, I have a client who's a manufacturer of luxury shampoo.
Okay.
And he is constantly sending his newsletters to large distribution folks what do you call them? I don't have much hair. What do you call the place where you go get your hair done? Salons. Well, hey. And so he uses that newsletter. There's a little bit of stuff about the industry in there, but he uses it more for like Hollywood. Hey, did you know that so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so's doing that? And hey, so-and-so's real hair color is this. And he's really naturally very entertaining. So yes, B2B, definitely. I've got a number of financial planners, accountants, and attorneys that use the system I just described with their clients.
My thought is that if my goal is to reach the business owner, but they've got a gatekeeper, right? The receptionist or the girl that gets the mail, right? That may not ever reach the business owner, but only land on the desk of the receptionist.
Well, why are you mailing it there? Mail it to their house.
Okay. So now you get sneaky and you go behind it. That's why I was asking the B2B. Would this work if I was mailing
or hey, depending on how big of a fish they are, put it in a FedEx. And then put on the outside of it, private and confidential for whatever the guy's name is.
Oh, wouldn't that tick you off if you opened up a FedEx and it had a newsletter?
Oh, well.
I think it's fantastic. Okay. So we've done this mailing, right? We send a newsletter out a couple weeks later or a week later, we send out our brochure or our postcard with our offer on it. A few days or weeks later, we send our email out. We've got this regular campaign that's going out, touching them on different aspects of it. That creates a connection. It brings them in. But I'm thinking with customer service to get them to come back to me, I have to deliver a pretty awesome service, don't I? Or product, right?
That you do. That you do. I mean,
is that a given that dentist is going to take care of me on painlessly and make my teeth clean and fixed, right? That's just an assumption.
We assume that being a good dentist, that is just entry into the marketplace.
Okay.
Do a good job. I mean, doing a good job that is the expectation these days. Creating the experience is what is going to get them people talking about you, I mean, I don't know about you, but when was the last time you sat down at the dinner table and you said, "Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened at the oil change today"?
Nope,
I'm hazarding a guess you have not had that conversation, nor
I have
probably have
not.
any of
Not
your
unless it was
listeners.
something terrible.
Right, exactly. So I've worked with, I've got a string of service stations that I work with. They're privately owned. It's not like they're exactly like Quick Lube or Jiffy Lube, but it's a private company.
Okay,
And he was competing with those guys.
right.
And every time they came out with a
Coupon
cool,
Central with them.
they were just getting beat up all the time on pricing. And I said, dude, you gotta go the other way. You've got to create something that they cannot create, and you've got to charge a premium for it. You got to be the
Mm,
Disney of oil changes in your town.
nice.
And after he thought about it, he said, okay. So I'll give you the quick version of it. I mean, and this took a little while to put it together, but the quick version is now you pull up to his oil change. And if you remember the old 1950 style service station where
Do
like
they
four
come out?
guys come out in little white shirts and bow ties, and one guy squeegees your windshield, another one checks the air pressure in your tire, and one guy opens your door for you, and then they lead you up into the waiting room. And in the waiting room, there's not 3-day-old stale coffee. There's actually a barista in there making your favorite coffee drink. And you know who the barista is? It's actually one of the oil technicians who just happened to rotate in that day.
Quick
He's
change.
he's got 11 employees. All of them learned how to make coffee drinks. And
Wow.
that position gets rotated through all of his guys.
Wow.
Now he charges about 60% more than his closest competitor for an oil change. I mean, the coffee's nothing. I mean, they only have time to make one coffee for people. There's maybe $1 worth of product
But
in the
it's an
thing. So there's no,
experience.
yeah, but it is the experience. And he does a whole bunch of other stuff. But now here's what happens with that experience. A, he's able to charge a premium for it. B, he's not having to serve as many customers to be extremely profitable. So there's less wear and tear on his building. There's less wear and tear on his equipment. There's less wear and tear on his employees. His employee turnover is gone like ridiculously slow. He doesn't have to hire people anymore because nobody wants to leave. Oh, I get to make coffee today. This is a great job. I mean, think about it. But people talk about that now. Now they do go home and say, "Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened at the oil change today."
Oh
It's
my
a
goodness.
real conversation. So you want your business to be able to be tellable. You want people to go home and say, "Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened with the carpet cleaner when they came to my house today." That's the conversation you want people having.
Love it. Love it. You've got my mind spinning on so many ideas and directions that we could take this. I mean, this is really the Disney style of taking care of your customers in a way that you get them on the front end, you get them to repeat, and then while they're inside, you're just giving them this experience that is like hands down nothing compared to anybody else out there. Um,
Well, I mean, what Disney has done is they've figured out how to take all the boring, mundane things that we have to do day in and day out and made an experience out of it.
hmm.
So, like answering the telephone, we all have to do it. Disney's just figured out a way to
Have
make it an
Mickey answer it.
experience. What's
But
that?
they have Mickey answer the phone when you call.
Well, not if you're making reservations. They got like Marge over in Tampa who answers the phone, you know, but she's still very pleasant. And, let's make it a great day at Disney or whatever they say.
Right?
But it's those kinds of things, finding those boring, mundane things in your business. So like answering the telephone I worked with a insurance company, one of the cities in the South, and it was actually an Allstate company. And there were like 6 other Allstates in this city,
Oh,
not to
sure.
mention all the other brands of insurance in there. And this guy really needed to stand out from not only his company, but all the other guys. And so we did some brainstorming, and I was in his office and I'm looking around and I'm like, damn, you like rock and roll, don't you, dude? Because he had like gold records on the wall and rock and
Nice.
roll posters and autographed guitars. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. And so we're sitting with his team, and I said, well, and his office manager said, I really think you should be like, the rock and roll insurance guy. And he thought about it. He said, okay. And then we did a little more brainstorming, and finally they came up with the way to answer the phone. So normally when you call pretty much any business, you get, thank you for calling Dave's Allstate. How can I help you? I mean, that's the standard
Yes.
way to any business will answer. But with
Yes.
this guy now, this is how they answer the phone. Thank you for calling Dave's Allstate, the agency that rocks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Now, your marketing is designed to do two things, right? It's designed to attract the people you want to do business with and repel the people you don't.
Exactly.
Just by answering the phone that way, he sifts, sorts, and screens out people that would make a lousy client, and the people that would make a great client are now attracted to him. He has also separated himself from every other Allstate agent, let alone all the other insurance companies in his city. And he has now been branded as the rock and roll insurance guy.
How fun. And I could just think of all the fun things you could do with that, right? Customer Appreciation Day, come in with your favorite, tell me who your favorite rock and roll player is. And,
you
you
can
could
have
just
so
take
much fun
that
with
to so many different levels to make that connection.
Yeah. But, it's just finding, and do you have to be that, I don't want to say over the top, but, you don't have to be that, excuse me, what's the word? It's not even
Crazy.
really outrageous, but
Well, what if he shows up like the Kiss guy, in the platforms and the makeup?
Gene Simmons,
Gene Simmons, that's what. Yeah, I mean, you could have, and I think that's it. When you want to have a brand, right? You can't compete with Coca-Cola, but and we don't have the budget to compete with those kind of things. And when I talk about growth with my clients, I'm saying you're not going to, dominate the market like Amazon, but you can dominate your space by having something that is super valuable to the customer, right? You're solving a problem or providing a solution or giving them a win of some type, but you can do it in a way, like you're saying, where you're completely memorable.
Right.
And that they would come back to you and their experience was over the top, right? I remember when a financial advisor friend of mine used to have a welcome sign that would be at the front parking space. This is for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And then you come inside, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is welcome. Oh, hi. Well, so they felt like they were really known and welcome and special that day, right? It's just those little itty bitty things that you can do. And that's what it sounds like you're a proponent of, is the little things that make so much more
Yeah.
to the
And
customer.
it's just, and it is those details. And that's, I mean, we're all in a detail business. Disney is certainly in a detail business. And, another quick example, I took my daughter to look at colleges on spring break, and we went to High Point University down in North Carolina.
Yep.
And we drove up to the guard shack, not guard shack, but, place with the security standing. And we rolled down the window, and the guy poked his head in, and he said, "Oh, you must be Emma." And we're like looking at each other, like, "How the hell do you know that?" And he
He must have
actually
been on your newsletter.
want to know how you do that, or how I knew that, right? And I'm like, "Yeah, that would be kind of nice." I'm thinking, I mean, he couldn't have just seen my license plate, or I mean, because there were other people here for the tour. It wasn't just us. He did say, actually, he goes, "Well, you are the only person from Maryland coming today, so I just took a guess that you must be Emma." And I said, "Well, I mean, did he have to do that is the question."
No.
He could have just said, "Okay, hi, how can I help you?" "Yeah, we're Emma Morris. We're here to do the tour." "Okay, great, go park over there." Could have been just like any other campus visit. But no, he made it special by saying, "Oh, you must be Emma." Got our curiosity up. We were engaged. And here's the cool thing, had we had made our tour reservations like a week or two earlier, our name would have been in lights. They have digital signs in the parking spaces for the kids' names.
Wow.
So, I mean, poo-poo on us for waiting until the last minute, but we still got a pretty good treatment.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The experience that does it, because the choice of the consumer today is vast. I mean, just in using your insurance example, there's like one on every corner, almost like Starbucks, and 20 different brands of it, and they're all trying to get you at the race to the bottom for the lowest price. I
Yep.
love your story of going, let's use, I think it's Dan Kennedy that talks about that. If you can't be the lowest, right? There's no winning the second lowest, but let's make it
There's
the
no
highest
competitive
then.
advantage to being second lowest at all. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's make it the highest and let's add an experience or value that's going to make them want to come back, right? Because people
100%.
buy for status. They really
Oh,
do. And if we can provide that status for them, I mean, I'm not a purse brand or a shoe brand that's going to be able to resonate that status, but I can give them that experience that
sure.
makes them feel like they have status with me.
Well, think about
And
status. Gee whiz. I mean, what's the difference between a Mercedes and a Yugo? I
they
mean, they
still
got four wheels. It goes forwards and
five
backwards. It's
wheels.
a car.
Get the steering wheel.
I mean, that's it. I mean, it's a car. Why is one, 300,000 and one 4,000?
Exactly.
It's the status.
Exactly.
It's I mean, I would like to think one's made better, but who knows? But if they're the same function,
You're so right. You're so right. So let's not be the Yugo audience.
that's fine.
Let's be the Mercedes of your jam, of your business and how you can do that. I love this. Vance, this has been so much fun. I know we could go on. You've got some fabulous examples. You can insert this into any industry and make it work. But where can listeners find out more about you and how they might be able to turn their business into this?
Sure. So my website would probably be best, which is deliverservicenow.com. But I have prepared a free, what I call a hot sheet, which is 52 ways to wow your customer without breaking the bank. And you can find that at wow52ways.com. So that is one wow a week. And they are literally little things that you can do that either have no cost or are very low cost that you can do to just wow your customer every single time. I mean, it might just be sending a postcard. It might be just calling a check on them. It might be sending flowers. Who knows? But 52 very distinct ways for you to just make one of your customers' day by taking one of those little wows.
I love that. Good job. I think I'm going to go download that myself right now because that's a fantastic tool to really engage the customer and make them feel like you value their business and you were thinking of them. And it's like, yeah, they're going to go, wow, that was cool. So what great branding in the name as well. So cool. Love it, love it, love it. All right, listeners, thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you found some valuable insights and actual ideas that will help you make your business more profitable. And I know the ideas that Vance have shared, they may not be new, but you know what? They're fresh in my mind right now. And what a better place to be is having a great idea that you can implement and really wow your clients. And I love it. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, it might be time for a fresh perspective. That's why we're offering a free growth and marketing audit. And in just one powerful session, we'll uncover opportunities that will drive real growth for your business. And so if you're ready to make that impact, go visit profitbooster.biz. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows. So you can always find Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Vance. This was fun.